All right, gang. I suppose it's time to party up, check out some NPC's wares, and quest away for this week's side stitch.
Yeah, ready to talk some RPGs in this place, huh?
Thank God be Jesus.
Yes, he's a much more forgiving God than RN Jesus.
Oh, yes, no.
No, we don't like
Beware the
RN
wrath of
Jesus.
RN Jesus.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's what keeps you from getting shiny Pokemon and literally any odd that you should ever want in a game.
Yep.
I don't need to have sex when I keep getting fucked by RNGesus. So,
Oh my god. All right, so
tell you where I'm coming from.
yeah. And like you at least like speaking of like that, like touching on that a little bit, like I brought up Pokemon shinies. You at least have like I don't want to I guess the comfort of starting with Pokemon Go when
Ugh.
shiny hunting. Because at least in Pokemon Go, the odds are more favorable than in the original like RPG games.
Oh, yeah, you're picking up shinies every other day, Pokemon Go. Here's
Yeah.
a shiny, there's a shiny.
Mm-hmm. You have an event where it's shinies for days for everyone. It's like
Shinies
a
for
day.
everybody.
Shinies for everybody. But in freaking the handheld games, like you had to like equip that damn Poke Radar. You had to go into a patch of grass. Then you had to hopefully see which patch of grass wiggled differently than the others and go to that one and just keep doing that and chaining the same Pokemon over and over again until it changed color. And then, even then, like you could fuck up that chain and then you're
Very
just out
easily.
hours of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking
Joe.
from experience, it was painful.
Yeah, just like Fleetwood Mac, dude. You never break the chain.
You never break the chain.
Yeah. Showing our age a little bit here. But yeah,
a little bit, yeah.
But we wanted to talk about our favorite RPGs because Joe, Chelsea, we all realized that when we were doing research on RPGs here, God, there's a fucking lot of history in it.
Yeah, it's an extensive library to say the least of a video game genre. Like we were talking before this a little bit. I like doing research. Like, you know what? Let's start easy because this is overwhelming. Give me the top 10 RPGs of all time. I go to IGN.com, and you know what they have? Best we can do: top 100 RPG games of all time. It's like, God damn it.
Well, luckily for us today, we're just talking about stuff that we love, the favorites, kind of like what we did with The Legend of Zelda. And
yeah, it's the opposite of Bloodborne's easy mode, which doesn't exist.
Oh, I'm a hard pass on those franchises. I'm not going to lie.
Same. After, well, like at least like my RPG strategy, which I think Chelsea, I think you have the same one, where like, you know what, we're gonna fucking just kill boars for like hours until like we can just destroy the first few bosses with like zero effort. Bloodborne doesn't fucking let you do that, and it drove me nuts. I'm like,
It's
no,
because Bloodborne doesn't care.
no, it doesn't. Like, oh, this is the first boss. You spent like 3 hours leveling in the first like village. Okay, guess what? The boss just matched all the things that you just did, and is still really hard and doesn't care.
Ouch.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bloodborne was made to crush dreams.
It really was. I think it was made to sell more controllers because they were getting broken constantly.
Oh, yes. The otherwise known as the Puss in Boots marketing tactic. Which it's a story that you will hear at some point. We haven't gotten there yet, but at some point we will tell you, we'll regale you with the Puss in Boots story.
Oh, yes. And the Mark's quest to get, was it level 40 on PSN? Was that the thing? Or was it 40 platinums?
It was 100 platinums.
100
actually.
platinums. That's what it was. Yeah.
That is a feat, sir.
Yes, it is. It is Quentin Tarantino feat. After a while, which
Chelsea,
is kind of gross.
I think. Oh yeah, that's a whole other. I assume that was just a weird fetish when it involved Quentin Tarantino and feet. But Chelsea, like when we get to the Tomb Raider chapter of that platinum story, I think you'll thoroughly enjoy it. But hey, RPGs that do not break us like Bloodborne. We have them. We have some that we like. So like of the ones that we're going for here, what decade did our favorites come out?
So hard. When you guys asked me, specifically come with your favorite RPG, I think I had an existential crisis. It was ridiculous. So I had a lot of options that I weighed through, and then I finally just settled on one that
Ooh.
just left my heart just happy. It was so much fun to play through. The art style was amazing. The characters were awesome. The story is really great. And it is just like a whole bunch of dorky fun packed in there as well, too.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So, and Joe, we've definitely touched on this before, but I offer up to you my submission of
Ah.
Dragon Quest.
Yes, Dragon Quest.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Specifically,
hmm
Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there've been quite a few Dragon Quests
Yes,
since
yes.
they've started the first one.
Absolutely. But yes, Dragon Quest 11, Echoes of the Elusive Age. That's my jam.
All right. Well, I mean, tell us some more about it. It's like I mean, a general story, gameplay a little bit. What really drew? Like, I know you said like the characters and kind of like their quirky dorkiness. You really enjoyed, but yeah, let's talk more about that. So, like, what about like who's the main character in Dragon Quest 11?
Yes, so the main character, it's kind of like one of those like all of a sudden you're the chosen one type of a
Uh,
scenario. So that's been
mm-hmm,
done
Mhm.
obviously plenty of times in the past before. But essentially you're, this person who previously just an unknown person, living in your little hometown with your family and your friends.
Ah, yes,
And
Regs to riches, very Dickensian.
yes, Rags to Riches, definitely like a coming of age story as well too. um, and essentially, I don't want to give away like a lot of spoilers, but
Mm-hmm.
you come to find out that you are, more than just some peasant person.
Oh yeah,
And
the chosen one.
yes, yes, exactly. And so then you're, tearing off to defeat the baddies and put together your ragtag team of people that don't fit
Rapscallions.
together. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
so
know. I mean, they do a whole
hmm
lot of touching on different types of lores and things like that. Like
hmm
Yggdrasil plays a big, the Tree of Life plays a big part of the theme in this game, and it just has a very good depth of of story and twists and things like that. I really don't want to give
Oh no,
much of
yeah,
anything
definitely.
away for people that haven't played because not a lot is super known to your character in the beginning, and
hmm
the story is very good, and there are a lot of twists and turns throughout the whole thing. So I don't want to totally spoil it by
Nice.
going
Yeah.
into like a whole lot of the story itself.
Okay. So as the name implies, with dragons and questing, are these separate entities or are you questing for a specific dragon?
Yeah, there really aren't many dragons.
Ah, that's fair. A little misleading, but I suppose.
Yeah. Um, Very few. Yes, it's not like what you would think that you're going to be, flying around on a dragon or riding into battle on a dragon or anything
hmm
like that. That's not really the case, but you do run into, it's an open world that's very much like you can see, it's not a random battle type situation. You can see all your bad guys, which is
Oh
great
yeah,
if you're
they're
wanting
roaming
to
about.
avoid them.
Mm.
Avoiding is completely something that you can do. Um, but it is also one of those games where I found myself at least, grinding,
Oh yeah.
killing everything in sight
hmm
and looting because obviously there's stuff to be found all over the place. And so you want to explore everything naturally. Um, but yeah, essentially you play this part of the luminary is what they everybody calls you. That's what it comes out for you to be known as. And
hmm
essentially, the luminary is going to they have a special power bestowed upon them, and they are going to stop the darkness, stop the bad guy.
Yeah.
The Dark One, as they call him.
Mhm.
So
Oh my.
yes. But along the way, there's a lot of things to distract you,
Oh, of course. Side
lots of
quests and
little
other
side quests
things.
that have nothing to do with worrying about the end of all days and time as we know it. I mean,
Well, I mean, you need distractions from those things. You can't take the end of everything too seriously.
I completely agree. And when my husband and I were playing through this game together the first time, because you're married, so you've got to share.
Yeah.
But we both had an extended period of time off of work. It was like right around the holidays. I think
Mhm.
like we both had something like 12 or 14 days off.
Ooh,
Yes, it was
that's a questing
amazing.
time.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we did. We beat the entire game in that stretch. We would wake up in the morning, play Dragon Quest until, late hours of night, early hours of the morning. And specifically, this is just a good example of the weird and wonky crap you can get into as well. There's
Mhm.
this one city, and it has this ridiculous casino and everything like that in it.
Oh.
And part of now this kind of touches back on platinuming, because we were dead set on platinuming this game.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Mhm.
And
Beat the whole game.
And part of that required us to literally spend like actual 48 hours doing shit in this casino. Like that wasn't the achievement, but it's what it took. And by the end of it, we're both probably, just at this point tired beyond all belief, and so everything is just hilarious now. But there were literally two people like screaming and cheering at a TV like for a roulette wheel and stuff like that. Like it got so nuts, which is fun because it had
Yeah.
nothing to do with the game, and yet we
Mhm.
spent all of this time just playing a little teeny tiny part of the mini game.
Oh
Mhm.
man. That
Oh,
Yes.
that's reminiscent of Little Big Planet, because I was going for
oh
the
yes.
or Little Big Planet karting, I should say, the karting game. There was a trophy in there where you had to basically be in the level editor for 100 hours.
Oh wow.
So
Yikes.
yeah, so I figured out a series of rubber bands and
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Mhm.
made that one happen.
Yeah, we did the same thing with Rocket League.
Yes, and Rocket League. Yes.
I
never
love
keep
it.
us
It's
down.
amazing.
Oh man, but yeah, like maybe like those little things are, like the side quests and those mini games. They would make these things so much fun though. Like of
Yeah.
course you've got like the main quest and everything going on, but it's kind of fun to take a break from it in the midst of like this massive like quest that you're on and just really enjoy yourself and the people you're playing with. Playing the game.
It's the end of the world, but let me go check out this roulette table.
I mean, there's time. Put it all on black.
And let it ride.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
I only got to play this game for a little bit, so I'm happy that y'all have appreciated it a little bit more. Because I mean, I loved it, but the only problem was I picked up employment that made me work a lot more than I ever did previously. So
Oh, see, that's the worst.
I had to give up some time, unfortunately.
Oh, it's gross.
Well, I would absolutely say if you ever have time to go back and just visit a game, this is one absolutely worth visiting. It is great.
Dragon Quest XI is on the list.
Boom. Well, I would like to kind of keep us in the traditional, like RPG space for a minute.
Oh yeah.
My RPG favorite, or at least one of my early favorites, I should say, because I evolved over time, just like a lot of people have. But one of my favorite RPGs of all time came out in 1994. Yeah, obviously I was a much younger man back then, or younger boy, I should say.
So much shorter, Mark.
Yes, much shorter, much whiter, had much better hairline, but ultimately my brother and I gravitated to a game called Shining Force 2. Have you all played that one at all?
I have not played that one.
Oh, it is your classic story of ancient evil that has been sealed away, a la Legend of Zelda type of thing.
Oh yeah, every RPG.
Yes.
Or most, I should say most. Most RPGs are fantasy based that revolve around the great evil sealed away has awoken.
Yes, like indigestion after a big meal. It's locked away, but it's going to break itself out after a little bit here.
Oh yeah, it's like one small pepperoni slice away from cracking.
And in which case, Shining Force 2 starts off the same way. You got your serene and happy kingdom, right? That was just waiting to get split in half by this ancient evil. And so Shining Force 2 starts off in that similar way, where you wake up in your bed, you hop on out, everything seems all right. And people are like, hey, you know what? There's a big deal going on at the castle. Why don't you go check it out? Ultimately, your main character gets shifted into the Shining Force, as the title of the game would imply. You lead the Shining Force. It's a group of folks that, as you move along on your quest, you pick up folks along the way who help you out.
Oh, as always, yeah. There's usually like, a dependable mage in there, a lecherous priest or two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thick boy holding an axe, which is like, I gravitate towards that player naturally, right?
There can only be one known player in the game, damn it.
You just have to toss me. Charlie Elf.
I'm the dwarf character.
Yes, dude. Shining Force was really fun because it's basically as analog as you can get from some of these Sega Genesis RPGs that came out. You have your stats, you have your weapons that get incrementally better from zone to zone, right?
Yep.
What's really cool about it, though, and this is something that we didn't find out through our first playthrough of the game, is that there are actually hidden items along the way that either you have to unlock or you have to navigate a maze, and you can't actually see these things. You just have to know they're there or explore quite a bit. And they can actually fundamentally change the class of characters that you have. So you can level up, in the standard linear fashion, right? And you acquire certain skills, and whatever. It feels, like your standard RPG. But then when you start to get into these other leveling items that you had no clue about, suddenly you've got characters who are doing these like crazy different things. And so when we found out about these and we changed up the formula, we're like, holy crap, I have abilities I don't even know how to use. Like, what do I do with these now? And so Shining Force was really great for that.
Yeah, it's like, so you're
I was 8 years old. My brother was 10.
Yeah, so that makes it like you're Spider-Man, the first movie, just yelling out "Go Web, go" and Shazam. Nothing's happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're all wearing tapered jeans, and we've got spiked hair with awful hair gel, and then suddenly someone's like, you know what? Try out this moose. Try out these fitted pants. See what you think. And that's what these leveling items were like. These evolve items were like. And so the game was tremendously fun. I mean, I have mentioned before, it does feel kind of analog. It's a 94 RPG, right? But the different classes that you can achieve, and then just the variations of folks that can join your party. There's so many of them. I think there's like minimum 12 to 15 different classes that can join your party at any time.
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot of folks.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, and the combat is like a checkerboard too. So it basically places over the zone that you're in, and then you move your party accordingly. So it's nice to have that kind of variation, because then you can figure out, okay, this mage will affect this zone when it casts a spell, and you can bring in different classes, and each one does something a little bit differently. So yeah, it was definitely a really good entry point for someone who hadn't played a ton of RPGs up to that point in time. And even to this day, it remains like a high value game. A lot of folks are still looking for this game even now. So the legacy is absolutely there.
Yeah, and if you are ever wondering about a gift you can get Mark for Christmas, he just said it right there.
Oh yeah, I'd totally take the gift and then immediately try to flip it, because I already have it. I have a ton of them. I have there's like 3 different versions of it.
Don't give that to Mark. He will regift.
Well, no, I won't regift. I will resell. You can
he will
bet
sell
your ass
for
I will.
A profit.
Yes. I was trying to like be nice about it, like, oh no, I'll just give it to someone else who'll enjoy it. No, Mark is gonna profit off of your dumb ass. You get him that game.
Yes.
So no one get that game for Mark.
Yeah, don't buy Shining Force 2 for Mark. Please don't do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think I'm gonna like my game like sandwiches right in the middle then because you had Mark's in 94. Chelsea's came out in what 2000 and probably 13, 15?
2017
Oh
is
wow, I
when
was way off. Okay.
yeah, is when Dragon Quest was released, and then they did a like a revamped edition like
Oh,
in
a remaster.
2020.
Well, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I'm not so much in the middle, so much as like I don't know, right above the bottom layer of bread that is Mark in this sandwich.
It's a thick piece of bread. That's meant to soak up gravy. God damn it! That's
It
why
is
it's there.
a solid piece of European bread that has not been cut, just torn apart.
Damn
Son
right.
of a bitch, guys. Now I want
Yeah,
bread.
the best of carbs are those ones. Well, I am like the slice of cheese hanging out towards the bottom. That wasn't supposed to be there, but you put it on anyway because who doesn't fucking love cheese? It's delicious. But my game is I think I've talked about it a little bit about on the podcast before is actually Lunar, the Silver Star, complete Silver Star story complete. It was a actually the third version of this same game that originally came out on I think the Sega CD in like
Yeah.
1994,
I think it
and
was
then they
96. That was a Saturn. I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Sega
Mhm.
Saturn.
Yep, and then they ported it to the PlayStation. That's when I got to play it, and the tale starts off very similar to The Legend of Zelda, where a friend brings it over. Except this time, I don't keep it for a full year.
Sure.
We don't do that. This is much better because we decided because he's already played through it once, and he's like, you know what, this game is really cool. We should play through it together. I'm like, that sounds cool. This will take a long time because this game is on 2 different discs. You have to play through
Yeah.
2 discs.
That's how you know it's good.
It's a damn good game when it's that way. And then like the box art was cool. And then it turns out you've got like anime cutscenes that are in this thing.
Yeah.
So absolutely beautiful of a game. And it takes place on the moon, which has been made habitable by the goddess Athena because Earth got like fucked over when the ancient evil Zophar came over and there was a big old war. So she created a pocket dimension and just threw his ass in there. And then like, well, the world's kind of fucked. Let's just live on the moon for a bit until this place gets better. And that's the background of the story. And you pick up like several thousand years after that whole thing. And then Zophar is going to come back. So it's a long, long game. And on top of like just the challenge of beating this with my friend, he's like, and here's what we're going to do. We're not going to sleep until we beat the game. So he brought it over on like a Saturday morning at 8:00 in the morning. This was the plan, and we were not going to go to bed at least until 8:00 the next morning.
Yeah, so you guys got Dragon Quest Casino weird.
Yeah, we did. Made it really freaking weird. And at one point, like I think I definitely fell asleep and didn't realize it. And my friend apparently was also pretty ready to get zonked. Because he's like, yeah, I watched you walk into a wall for like 10 minutes before I figured out that you were asleep. I just kept watching you, and I didn't think to actually wake you up. So that's how this quest was going.
That's how you know it's good. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. You fell asleep playing it because you didn't want to put it down. It definitely was not a boring story. I absolutely love this game, and I went back. I mean, I own it now. I've since bought it for myself, and I've played through it by myself at least a couple times. But I mean, it's like kind of like your beautiful like Eastern RPG style. You've got a larger map that zooms into a smaller zone, and you wander around the zone. And then from in the zone, you can focus on like the enemies and stuff that you meet along the way. So like the overall goal is that you're this young man who dreams of becoming the Dragon Master, who is basically instead of like if you think like Legend of Zelda, how the goddesses put like all of their stuff into the Triforce, so you're trying to get the Triforce more powerful. This goddess like divvied her power up among 4 dragons, and you can beat the dragons in combat, and if you do, they will give you like a fraction of the goddess's power. So your goal is to beat all of the dragons, become the Dragon Master. And that's like kind of like the innocent goal, because for a while you don't know the big bad guy is coming back, and then eventually it becomes apparent that the big bad guy is indeed coming back.
Oh, of
course, he's gonna make it out of that pocket dimension, and
They always do.
they always make it out of the damn pocket dimensions. Doesn't matter how many times you try sticking them in there, they're gonna get their asses out. And God, like the character fun in this game. Oh, the main one, Alex, he's fun. And it turns out like the dragons, and when they're younger, they actually can like make themselves look like basically these tiny cats with wings. And they just kind of follow you around. I know, right? Like sold right there. You've got a tiny cat with wings following you around. So you've got one character named Null, who's you just like before the story starts, like you just found him when you were younger, and like you've been hanging out ever since. And then you come to find out when you beat the white dragon, he's like, I'm really too old to keep doing this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and die.
Getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and check out. And oh, by the way, your little cat, he's actually a tiny dragon. I'm gonna give him the rest of my power, and then Null can transform into a huge, massive dragon when needed. Except, of course, when you have to fight the final boss, because you can't have that much of help when you're fighting the final boss. It just wouldn't be fair. Of course not. But I mean, there are twists and turns in the game. One, like, I'm not really giving anything away because it's pretty obvious when you meet this character who is in your party. You're like, that motherfucker is going to stab me in the back one day. Like, you just know him and you know he's going to do it. And then, lo and behold, right at the end of disc 1, that motherfucker stabs you right in the back. Like, just like, go! Oh, what a sudden but inevitable betrayal. Like, yeah, like you knew it was happening.
Your name was Judas, and I just never saw it coming.
But yeah, like I mean, like the mechanics of this game are everything that like the three of us love about it. Like it's turn-based RPG. You have mana for your moves. You of course have hit points to make sure your character's gonna go down. Unlike Mark's game, I think you only have like at most 5 characters in your party at a time.
No,
so it doesn't get really big.
More. You can go up to more in Shining Force.
Oh yeah, like that. I was saying like yours. You can go way more.
Sorry.
Yeah, Lunar. You get the 5 kids, and that's it. Just the 5. That's your max.
I mean, if you try to watch more than 5 kids at once, it's just not.
No, it's herding cats at that point, and it's not easy.
You're not fighting anything to success.
No, I have taught 50 first graders in one room. Exactly.
That's too much.
Yep, way too many first graders in one room.
You should definitely get your.
I had other teachers there, but still, yeah, herding cats, which could have been dragons. We don't know.
Yeah,
the way they acted, they were probably dragons.
Well, now that I know that I picked the absolute oldest property from all 3 of us, I do want to give some credit to a more recent and possibly dividing or controversial game.
Is this time for honorable mentions?
Yes, I absolutely want to do an honorable mention here because this is a game that I've actually played through twice on 2 different platforms. So y'all have heard a little indie game called Mass Effect. That's a joke, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I mean,
very dry delivery.
Once or twice.
Once or twice. It's come up here and there. I think I saw it in passing before.
Yeah, they barely put any money into this game. It's a surprise that anyone's even heard of it. I know that when the trilogy fully came out, this is before Andromeda, which was a spinoff of it.
I was going to say, I have mixed feelings already.
Well, okay. Let me put it this way. The mixed feelings of the entire game and playing it all the way through, sure. I understand it, right? Like, I'm not trying to invalidate people that thought that because I understand the viewpoint. Really what I came to appreciate for Mass Effect, even though it's not a traditional RPG, right? Like, it's not like a standard JRPG that we've kind of talked about, right? That kind of style. Mm-hmm. You have players that you can pretty much anytime swap it in out of your party. You've got different weapons. You collect things along the way. You can customize skills. That stuff's pretty normal. The strength of this series, though, was the fact that you have decisions that you make that do alter the story depending on the moment that you're in, but also the next game and the game after that, your decisions stay with you. So ultimately, I know people got really upset about the 3rd game. We won't get into that today because, it kind of divided everybody like a nice butt crack of fans.
Yeah, like, yeah, sure, you can sleep with literally every other main character in the game, but
And why not?
yeah, why not?
That's why you name your character, number 1 or Commander Riker, and you just go fuck everything with that can walk. All right.
Yeah, it's the exact opposite like vibe as like when you name Link my dude in any game. Because then it completely melds the situation when the Great Deku is like, my dude, welcome.
Yes. Or
Finally,
fuckface.
my dude, you're here.
Yeah. I love to name my character fuckface. This was like from like age 12 onward. It's like, oh, look who shows up. It's fuckface.
Oh god.
I mean, that's what you always named your rival in Pokemon too.
I was gonna
Like,
say
you're not
everyone's naming Blue douche, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
my grandson douche.
Yeah, Gary is an option, but he's not going to be Gary. Only in the
Hell
anime.
no. Hell no.
He's douchebag in when you play.
Honestly, that was an experience for me, even though the third entry in the series, like I said, it was very controversial. People got really kind of upset over it.
It was boring.
Well, yes, I get it. It's the fallacy of what happens in a lot of these like, not even just games, like movies, where people have kind of gotten these great expectations because the experiences have been that great, and then things just kind of deflate because they have to end at some point. And so you start to get really hard on the decisions. You get really granular with things, and I understand it, Chelsea. Trust me, I do. I really understand it. But for me, that was an honorable mention. I had to get it out there before we hit that stop button.
No, I think it makes sense. It's a good honorable mention because the rest of the series I'm a huge fan of. I think it's great, the depth and of the choices meaning so much, and each game having the potential to look so different than the next is important, especially when we're talking about genres like these.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I thought that was a game that because like I said, you're not just making a decision for one game. And Joe, if you haven't played it before, we're not just talking about like you put on a different shirt and someone notices it in the next game. It's like you decided to save an entire race of beings, and now they exist and they did something in this game.
Yeah.
Like it's
I just have I don't program games by any reason, but I just have to imagine that's a big fucking programming nightmare.
Oh yeah.
Like, oh my god, the amount of depth and attention you have to put into, like, oh, like literally, like this guy killed a moth in game 1. Turns out there's an entire planet of giant moths, and that was their prince, and now they're coming to fuck the earth over. That doesn't actually happen, but I feel like that's what could happen.
Mass Effect 4, Revenge of the Moths.
Yeah, or again, like you slept with the wrong person, and then in game 3, it turns out that person definitely had space AIDS.
Oh, yeah. I could see the value in making a game like that.
And then it's random too, so like it doesn't matter. Like it's something to be normally inconsequential, but game 3 hits like, oh yeah, it turns out, programming joke, if you did sleep with this one character, you are gonna die because of it.
Hey, BioWare, heads up, if you're listening to this, space AIDS, maybe consider it next time you make a game.
Think
it's
about
just
space
like
AIDS.
Yeah, it's just like real AIDS, but from space.
Can survive in a vacuum. That's why it's there. But yeah, I guess. What about you guys though? Any honorable mentions you want to throw out there?
I feel like I cannot speak about RPGs without talking about Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't even think it's something that needs to be gone into very deeply. Like, we all know Skyrim. Everyone knows Skyrim. But that, again, is a game that I am just, patiently waiting for the next rendition of.
Yeah.
And I think, too, it's just because, you can do whatever you want, and you can play the game. You could play the game for a year without ever touching the main quest line.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, and the funny thing about this, Chelsea, is that I actually have been playing Elder Scrolls almost since the beginning too. And so for them to be able to keep making games like this and me not getting burnt out on them, Joe knows I burn out on things quick.
Yeah,
That's true.
So
he does. He gave Aliens Colonial Marines. He looked at the cover of the game and he's like, nope, burnt out.
yeah,
Can't do this one, Joe.
No.
Like, that's fair. That's fair.
It's forever a coaster after just looking at the cover.
$60 coaster.
It's a handsome coaster, and that's that game's best use. It really is.
So to Chelsea's point, though, Joe, I mean, playing. So I didn't play Elder Scrolls since Arena, but I played it since Daggerfall, and then Oblivion, and then Skyrim.
Yes.
And I mean, the stories from game to game, I mean, they don't necessarily have the same impact as, let's say, Mass Effect would, but the lore and the dedication that Bethesda has to continuing to expand on those things, and then to pay attention to it all and be able to connect it all together. I mean, that is the biggest thing to me, because you can pick up a book off of a shelf, and Chelsea, you can test this too.
Yeah.
I mean, you
and
can
only Chelsea, because I don't read.
I'm not playing a video game to read. God damn it!
What is this, school?
You elected me to lead, not to read.
but it's true though, dude. I mean, if you like these games, I mean, if you give them the time of your day, you can take a book off a shelf, you can read stuff, and I mean, that's just as entertaining sometimes as the actual game. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yes, the lore is extremely, extremely thought out and rich. And so, I mean, again, it touches on, the people that are maybe wanting to sit there and play in like a role-playing setting and have it be very immersive like that. Like, that's going to appeal to those types of people, which are absolutely out there, and it's important. And so it's kind of cool. You don't have to sit there and read that stuff. You don't have to do anything with it. But if you want to, you can. And it just makes that much more of the game.
I totally agree with you. It's just like that all-you-can-eat buffet. If you've got your 2 or 3 go-to things that you always get, fine. But you're going to be just as happy with the other stuff you haven't tried yet.
Yeah, you've got all this lore to eat yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And countless NPCs to talk to. And
the other part about that too, Joe, if you kill some of those NPCs, it can drastically impact the story in some of the earlier games to where it says, like, you literally have killed so many people, the story cannot continue.
Okay. So they don't come back because you just blew through the game and didn't complete everything you're supposed to. And when you finally get around to doing those side quests, the NPCs won't just come back, is what you're saying.
What I'm saying is that there are elements of this game, and this isn't so much in Skyrim, but this is like some of the earlier games, is that if you just decide that you want to be a serial killer, like, you can kill so many people that the game can't function anymore. The storylines don't work, the quests don't work. Like, it's like, rein it in, will you?
Oh my god.
It's the game telling you, you done fucked up, Aaron.
Okay, yeah. Well, side honorable mention for me, honestly, mostly because of like the good times I've had playing this game more than the game itself. Because when it comes to RPG, it's a pretty like straightforward little dungeon crawler by the name of Gauntlet Legends.
Oh dear Jesus! Oh my God!
Yeah,
oh, no.
I know, right? And I'm talking like even before they ported it to the N64, and it was just an arcade game. And I remember like it being at Cozy's Pizza in off of Castle Rock Lake in good old Boston, Wisconsin, hometown. Woo, exit 69. That's all we got. But anyway, yeah, we would play Gauntlet Legends, and it would be like me and like 3 of my friends. And it would just be so much fun. And that's where like you get all the fun, like use keys to open doors, Red Wizard need food bad, all that stuff from Gauntlet Legends. And yeah, God, I just loved it. It was simple. And like with Legends, it was pretty basic too. Like you had like what a barbarian or warrior class, you had a wizard. And honestly, I don't even remember the other 2 because I only played the wizard. And I just had a friend who swung his sword around every once in a while. I'm like, I'm just a wizard. I'm gonna throw shit from a distance. This is how I operate. I'm not going in there like guns a blazing. I'm standing back, wand a throwing. That's what I'm doing.
The strength character wasn't even the most fun to play with, like you said. Like no one was going for the warrior or the Valkyrie. Like they were just typically.
There they go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was usually like wizard or archer. Those are the fun ones. Like just let's just shoot the shit out of everything and hope it doesn't get to us in time.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it was just how far can we like? Our parents have given us $3 to spend. That's like not including pizza. Like pizza's its own budget, but we've got $3. How much of this game can we get through?
You're either buying bubble gum that loses its flavor before you get done at the checkout, or you're playing Gauntlet Legends.
Yeah, exactly. And you're gonna have your soda and your pizza, and you're playing Gauntlet Legends until you're told you have to go home, or you die completely. And of course, like I don't think my friends and I don't think we ever actually beat it on the arcade. It wasn't until like we made it to the Nintendo before they ported it to the N64 that we actually ended up beating the game. But even then, like, okay, well, here's the deal: we're just not going to sleep until we beat this game.
Totally.
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Yeah, no big deal. It's the summer. We don't have responsibilities. We're in the 7th grade. Who cares?
Literally,
not
no one's
sleeping is a theme that we've talked about a couple of times here. So I guess that's how you know that you have a good game is when you are convinced that you don't need sleep anymore. A basic human thing that you absolutely need. But if the game's too good, you don't need it.
No, you've got Mountain Dew and Friends. What else? Yeah, and video games. Like you don't need the sleep thing in the equation. Because this was a time when we were innocent enough where Mountain Dew's caffeine level would actually do something.
Yeah. I was going to say, we had Surge, we had Mountain Dew, we had,
Jolt, baby.
Jolt, yes. We had lethal levels of caffeine in everything we did. So, yes, we were playing till 3 a.m.